Matt, if you're saying anything, I cannot hear you. Couch Guys Sports Loose Change Podcast, episode number 49, one away from 50. And man, has this show been going on. It feels like this show's been going on for so long now. And we're reeling in the guests. And we got a big guest today. His name is Joe Murray from 98.5, the Sports Hub. Joe, thank you so much for coming on today, man. We really appreciate it.
What's going on, guys? I'm shaking that loose change in my pocket right now.
Love it.
Hey, so, I mean, one reason, Joe, I wanted to have you on, and I'm excited that we got you on, is because a lot of the people that we bring on, for the most part, they're kind of just like, they can talk about more than one thing, but people know them as like only one sport. With you, I feel like we can go all over the map.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. I got a plethora of questions for you. Number one, big topic of the week. I'll start it off, Jared and Lauren. No say. Big topic of the week.
Never. It's fine. I'm over it.
Topic of the week, Rob Gronkowski. So Tom E. Curran on Boston Sports Tonight the other night just drops a bomb on everybody and says that Gronk apparently was considering retiring last training camp, and he just didn't have a fun 2017. So now that this has kind of came out and there's been all the speculation since the Super Bowl, since literally like 20 minutes after the Super Bowl ended, whether or not Gronk's going to retire, do you think what Tom E. Curran said, do you kind of believe the rumors now that Gronk might retire, or I guess, do you even think that he's going to retire? Because to me, hearing Tom E. Curran say this kind of jarred me a little bit, and now I'm kind of like, okay, now maybe the Patriots should be shopping for a new tight end.
Yeah, I just think what Curran, when he comes up with this, to me, it just seems more about that Wickersham report that came out earlier in the year. Might have some facts to it, you know. And, you know, we heard about Kraft and, you know, Belichick and Brady possibly having this meeting at some point. It seems like it's probably geared towards Gronk a little bit now. And, you know, if you've been following Twitter recently, but Mark Daniels of the Providence Journal, you know, came out recently and said that the Patriots didn't want him to report a story about his diet. He's been working out with Alex Guerrero. And, you know, as we know earlier, Alex Guerrero was, you know, banned from the sidelines. And, you know,
we know that story.
Yeah, and if you think about Gronk's injury history, I mean, you know, the pliability is probably a big thing, right? I mean, he probably played more games this year than most of his career. So there's definitely something to it. I think it's the control of Belichick in the locker room. But to answer your question, I don't think he's going to retire right now. I do think he's trolling everybody on Twitter, though, by far. Like the
absolutely
today.
Oh yeah,
he's trolling everyone. But you know, last year, so guys, I'm a big wrestling fan. I went to WrestleMania last year, and Gronk was there. And I wouldn't be surprised in 40 days if he's somehow in some sort of storyline. And let's not forget the XFL starting up about a year or so. But in my honest opinion, I think Gronk's back next year. But I think he's only back because he's paid top 3 in the league at tight end. He can probably get an extension if it was me. And I know Karen Guregian had this from the Herald over the weekend. But why not just give him a 2-year extension? Who cares if he doesn't play the 2 years, and give him some more guaranteed money? And maybe this is a ploy to get a little bit more guaranteed money because right now he's paid off performances. So I don't think he retires, but he certainly has the control. It's not the Patriots who have the control in the situation. It's totally Gronk. And if I was the team, I'd pay up for a guy like him, especially considering Brady's got, 2 years, 3 years tops left?
Yeah, and if you're the team, you got to make sure too, Joe, that like this is what he plays as long as Brady plays at this point. I think, you know, he's a rare and special talent enough to say, you know what, I don't care if you're tweeting hashtag clueless at these reports and whatever you're talking about. You know, if you want more money, we want you here as long as Brady's here. We're going to make this work. If you want to go wrestle after Brady leaves, that's fine. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, and you know, if you look at the Patriots, I mean, what are they going to cut Rob Gronkowski? I mean, that'd be, I mean, maybe they could float him out there in a trade, but you know, that team's best when he's on the field. And there are other options. Jimmy Graham's a free agent this year, who, by the way, was the highest paid tight end in all of football last year. There are other options, but at this point, yeah, you want Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady, and hey, Josh McDaniels came back for a reason too, right? I mean, so I think he's on board, but the Ian Rappaport report today was saying that, he hasn't heard anything else besides him playing football this year. But I do think movies in WWE is something that's in his future, though.
And this is more me asking too, because I'm not as big a WWE person as you are. Would it be possible, would the Patriots even give him leeway in the offseason or whenever to do part-time stuff? Like, is it something where maybe he can have a bigger role in the WWE world without stop playing football, if that's what he really is getting at with something like this?
Now, that's a good question, because, why would they let him, especially Rob Gronkowski, a guy who's barely been healthy for an entire football season, get involved in? I know it's predetermined, guys, but it's still physical. There's still some injuries involved there. But he's more of the storyline and the face who can do a bump here and there. But maybe that's what's going on right now. Maybe they're saying to him, hey Gronk, you did it last year, tone it down. But I still think there's something there in that locker room. That report that you guys referenced about Tom Curran, that something stinks in that locker room right now. And clearly everyone knows that Belichick's the best of all time and you get the best quarterback, but something's not right there. And I just have this thing about teams that lose the Super Bowl. You can go back in history, watch teams who lose the Super Bowl and how they play the next season. It would not be good for the Patriots if Rob Gronkowski wasn't in the mix, but personally, I think he'll at least be back next year.
Do you really think he can act, though? Like, do you really see a future for him in movies?
Yes. Yeah, I don't think he can act, though. But you're going to have to write lines for that guy, But, I think he could, be a bouncer or, but, I mean, he's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, if you really think about it, That's really what it would be. But, I don't know, like if they made, a Baywatch 2 or something, or...
he would be there.
Oh, yeah, he would be the whole movie.
Like a Fast and Furious, you know what I mean? Like that's what he can do.
Those are going to go on forever, so.
Yeah, and listen, don't throw the XFL out of the mix either. Like that, I don't know what he could do. Like I know Dick Butkus was the commissioner years ago. I don't see Commissioner Gronk happening, but he could be involved, and maybe he'd be like the face of the XFL. Like, hey, tune into Fox or whatever channel it's going to be on. That's where I think he can be involved, but no, I don't see him being, I don't see him being like the next Rock or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I see him kind of climbing his way into the WWE, but I mean, they don't hit each other in the head with steel chairs anymore, right? I don't watch it much anymore, but right, they don't hit each other with chairs. That's Gronk. I feel like that would be Gronk's thing.
Yeah, he'd probably be hit. He'd be the one swinging, I bet, at one point. But I don't know. I mean, let's keep our eyes peeled. WrestleMania is, 30, 40 days away? I think he might be involved, and maybe that's what all these cryptic tweets are about, or maybe today it's about the Clueless report. Maybe that came out. But I'll tell you this much. If Gronk did walk away, he has nothing else to prove. He's the greatest tight end of all time. And let's face it. I mean, I hate to bring up Aaron Hernandez, but that's a guy he played with, and when you look at the CTE and injuries in sports, maybe he looks at it like that. And to Curran's report, that concussion, maybe it woke him up, and he could walk away, and I guess nobody would blame him at that point. But, with Tom Brady, here for another couple of years in his prime, I think he comes back.
Joe, I was at that game, and I swear to God, when Gronk got popped, you could hear it from where I was sitting in the stands. That was a devastating crack to the helmet.
Oh, yeah. I was in section 236. I thought it was a cheap shot, absolute cheap shot. But, again, concussions, this guy could get hurt like sneezing. You know what I'm saying? He's had so many injuries over his career, but that's probably a need that they do have to look at in the draft this year, though. I think I know Bennett could be back, and, Dwayne Allen was not good, but they need to at least address that position going into the draft.
For sure. So kind of rolling over into the Red Sox, JD Martinez this week, obviously another big story. And the story was kind of like it took forever for him to come out and officially become a member of the Red Sox with the media press conference. And we know his contract is reworked. It helps the Red Sox and JD Martinez both. I don't know why JD Martinez needed more help, but that's a whole other story. Do you think this hurts Dave Dombrowski, though? Because this season, it looked like this team was going to be great for him, but he's had a track record of buying broken players. Do you think that this hurts that legacy, or at least keeps that legacy going, that he keeps on buying broken pieces?
No, I completely disagree with that. I was talking about that this week. Like, think about Dave Dombrowski's moves that he's made, right? I mean, granted, you can do a lot when you have money, right? You can go, go sign David Price, you can sign JD Martinez, but he's made really good trades, whether it's Chris Sale, Craig Kimbrell. Last year he got Addison Reed. There's moves that he's made. So personally, I think he's done everything he possibly can to improve this team, yet they're back-to-back AL East champions, and they get bounced in the first round. And I'll tell you guys right now, I'm out on the Red Sox. Like, I'm out. I don't think that they're better than Cleveland, New York, or Houston. I think they're a second-tier team. But when it comes to JD Martinez, I have a ton of questions. Forget about the injury stuff, okay? And I am curious about his, the money. Forget about the money. We're not paying him. The way I look at it is this. The guy in his press conference said that he wants to play the outfield, right? Well, they probably signed him to be a DH. So if he wants to play the outfield, what does that mean? Hanley Ramirez is going to be playing, DH, and Mitch Moreland's going to be getting full-time at first base, and then Jackie Bradley's out of the mix? Their best lineup is with JD Martinez at the DH, with Bradley in center and Hanley at first. And that's my concern. Does this guy who's, let's say he gets off to a slow start, is he going to blame the fact that, I'm not playing the outfield, I'm not getting the reps I used to get? There's a lot of question marks regarding JD Martinez. I think the guy can hit, but he's never played in the market like Boston. I think that's the biggest concern. Dombrowski's done everything possible to make this a winning team. This year, it's truly on the players because they can't blame the manager anymore.
And looking at this deal, too, like with the opt-outs, Joe, in 2 years, this could all be blown up because people got to get paid in 2 years. Chris Sale, he has the opt-out, and JD Martinez, these younger kids are coming up. The window to win with this group is pretty much 2 years at this point.
Yeah, and just think about that. Hanley Ramirez, if he gets, 460 at-bats or so, he gets an option picked up for the following year. I mean, do people want – listen, I like Hanley, okay? And when he's right, he's one of the better hitters in the league. But do you want to see this guy back for another year when, there's other role players there? And this kind of forces Hanley to play more, which, and just to mention a few more players, how about Xander Bogaerts, Mookie Betts? I mean, those guys have to get paid at some point. You mentioned Chris Sale, but, if they want to play with that luxury tax, that's a lot of money, not to mention they lose position in the draft. They were basically hovering around that tax at this point right now. And I think that if they're a contender, they'll spend. But there's a lot of concerns for the future considering how much money they've spent. And who knows, maybe David Price opts out and they give that money to Chris Sale.
Do you think David Price opts out? I'm going to follow up with that. Because all the comments he's made this year, it seems like it could go either way at this point. But it seems like he's saying all the right things to want to be here.
Oh, I think he hates Boston. I think he hates Boston. But, most guys who opt out actually get more money. Yeah, there's a history of it. Guys who opt out somehow end up making more. I don't think he can make more. That's just my opinion. And maybe he'll just look at it and say, I'd rather go play somewhere else where I'm happy than be in Boston for $30 million a year. I think he opts out. I don't think he likes it here, and I think he's a huge injury risk, which means they're probably stuck with him.
Yeah, he's absolutely an injury risk, and I'm right there with you. I think he absolutely hates it here in Boston. And kind of sticking with the whole David Price thing, he made comments to JD Martinez supposedly saying that, you're going to love it here, but the fans are going to boo you. And JD Martinez came out and said, you never said that to me. So I kind of want your take. Do you think there will be any kind of drama there was last year with David Price? Will JD Martinez kind of settle that drama, or will he add to it, kind of being that bigger name in the clubhouse this year?
That's a good question, because I thought that was my biggest takeaway from everything. I was pissed about the medical staff. They can't get it right. Just look at how many guys have come in here and had issues, whether it's Mike Napoli, Eduardo Nunez a year ago getting carried off the field for his injuries. Just think of all the injuries for the year. And then all of a sudden, JD Martinez comes out and says, we never had that conversation. So, and not to mention Bob Nightingale, had this huge write-up about, David Price, and he hates negativity, and even his wife brings it up. So, no, I don't think David Price can change anything. I think David Price is who he is, but I do think he has a sense of, all right, last year I pitched better out of the bullpen. And you know what? This year as a starter, I need to pitch better. There's still the injury concerns there when it comes to Price, but that locker room, they need leaders, man. They need leaders. It's not Dustin Pedroia, I'll tell you that much. And you know what? He's always led by example, but someone needs to lead on that team. Maybe it's Sale in his second year. Maybe it is J.D. Martinez. I don't think he's a leader, but that's the biggest thing with them. Alex Cora's taken over as manager, and they and I mentioned this earlier, but they can't blame the manager anymore. How many guys came in and said there was tension in the locker room last year? Well, I think David Price caused a lot of that tension, with the whole Dennis Eckersley thing. But let's not forget, a lot of these guys backed them up, whether it was Jackie Bradley and even Pedroia for that matter. And the whole Machado thing that happened a year ago. I think a lot of those guys do respect David Price, and maybe he is a leader in that clubhouse. But personally, the things he says in the media, it's just he continues to it's like a shovel. He just continues to bury himself.
All right, so rolling over now into the Bruins. And like I said, Joe, I'm very happy to have you here because we can literally hit everything because there's so much going on right now in Boston sports. We need to hit everything. So Rick Nash. I just got used to seeing Kyrie Irving in green. I don't know what my brain's doing right now seeing Rick Nash in black and gold. He made his debut last night at the TD Garden, scored a goal, scored a hot goal, and also played a little bit of goalie. Mm-hmm. Do you think, so he's already showing us that he can make this team better, but do you think giving up for a rental, a first-round draft pick, and Ryan Spooner, plus, Bolesky too, but he doesn't really matter. Do you think giving up Spooner and a first was, do you think giving up Spooner and a first was a little too much for a guy who might not be here next season?
In this case, no. And here's the deal. If it was just a first-round pick for Nash, I would say it's too much. But look how many other guys went for a first-round pick. Evander Kane, so many other guys that were available went for first-round picks. But here's the deal. Sweeney went for it, right? He didn't say, we got a nice bunch here, and let's see how this team can do. They went out and traded for one of the better scorers available. And he is a rental. But if you really look at it, they gave up no pieces from the team. And it's essentially a Spooner for Nash swap. Because if you look at the rest of it there, they're getting rid of Bolesky's money over the next 2 years. That's basically frees up $2 million over the next 2 seasons. So, he is a rental for this year for a playoff run. And as we saw last night, the guy who can score the puck. But, they have $17 million freed up for next year. So the Nash move, I agree with. I think it's a good deal for both sides personally. I think the Rangers even have a good deal. But, the way I look at it is this is a move not just for now, but for the future. And you talk about guys down the line that need to get paid on the Bruins. McAvoy is going to need that deal. Brandon Carlo, Heinen, DeBrusque. McQuaid's money's up next year. But there's a lot of guys they need to sign down the line. And I think that, moving on from a first-round pick this year, and let's not forget, they've had 6 first-round picks in the last 3 years. 6. They don't need another first-round pick. You know what I'm saying? So the more I look at it here is this is a move to help out this year, but it helps out next year. Bolesky's gone. They weren't going to re-sign Spooner. That's for sure. And, next year they have money to go out and bring back guys that they like that are going to keep around for a while. $17 million next year, guys. That means they're going to be in the hunt next year. They can get into free agency, and they also have assets where they can trade to upgrade the team.
And the luxury is they've hit on almost all of their first-round picks, so that means they can get rid of these first-round picks. And, Joe, do you think that, if Rick Nash is obviously a producer, which he seems like he's already going to be, but if this team makes a decent push, who knows, even if they lose to the Lightning or not, whatever it may be, do they arguably keep him maybe on a 1-year, 2-year deal if this team can be contenders next year with him on the roster?
No, this to me it's a rental. It's a one and done for me. But this is for Nash right now. You got to look at it. He's 33, 34 years old. Going on a cup run right now. He's a lot of history shows that he doesn't play well in the playoffs. And if he can do that with this Bruins team, he's going to cash in. And next year, all those first round picks that we talked about that they've hit on, there's going to be a spot available for one of those guys next year, or go get somebody in free agency. But I will say this though, Sweeney's done a really nice job when it comes to drafting. I think his NHL trades have been bad though, overall. But this one here, it sounds like a lot for a rental, but long term, this is going to help out over the next couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. And sticking with the Bruins and Rick Nash, a very simple question for you. With the addition of Nash now and on Krejci's line, does that A, make Krejci a better player, and B, does that mean that this Bruins team will go to the Stanley Cup Finals this year?
Oof. So I don't know about the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm still torn on
Loaded
that. I'll
question.
say this though, it is because I mean, so they always have Washington who they can never get past, right? There's Tampa Bay who just got Ryan McDonough. Toronto is still they looked like the better team the other night if you watched. The Devils just got better. Maybe that's who they see in the first round. So I mean, I think they're gonna have a problem getting to the Stanley Cup, but I like the fact they're going for it. When it comes to Krejci, though, yeah, Krejci's kind of like an albatross on the team. His contract's big, but they know when he plays next to a bigger forward, whether it's Ben Horton, Aginla, you name it, Lucic, whoever it is, whoever the bigger wing is, he's always played better, and he always rises his game in the playoffs. So I think it's a double move. It's to get Rick Nash, motivated for a playoff run, but also get David Krejci going. The loss of Bergeron, though, is going to hurt. I mean, it stinks. He's out for 2 weeks. We saw our guy Tommy Wingles last night. He got in the mix.
Tommy!
All in on Tommy Wingles.
I love Tommy Wingles, and I've always been a Gianta guy, Brian Gianta. I've always loved Gianta.
Really?
I don't know what.
He's not going to play though, is he?
No, if he plays, there's problems. But I just, a kid who played at BC was just in the Olympics. He's kind of like the token old guy. You know what I mean? You need that old guy, whether it's Mark Recchi or, for years they always had some sort of older player. I guess he's the one this year. But the Bruins are in good shape.
But so I got one more question, and you know what? Just to go off that Tuca thing real quick too, if you ask Lauren, I am the biggest Tuukka Rask hater. I love the streak. I root for the guy to win. It's like David Price. I root for the guy to win. I want you to win. I don't believe in you. I just have no faith in you. And Tuukka, I've been expecting for this run that he's been going on since October to come to an end. It seems like he's slowed down a little bit, but I don't know. I'm not a big Tuca guy. I fight with guys who comment on Lauren's stuff all the time on Twitter. I battle with them. I go head to head.
You love fighting with my followers.
It's my favorite.
Twitter's a cesspool, but it's like fantastic for Nick.
Lauren's Twitter is specifically a cesspool.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. Like, the chance that he had to go to the finals, he went and he blew it. And
he had diarrhea.
Time they've made he's got a case of the Tucas every year, right? I mean, let's call it what it is, right? The last 2 years, besides last season against Ottawa, the year before that, last game of the year, he got a case of the Tucas. He couldn't play in the final game. I mean, there has to be at least some point when it comes to this guy. It's either durability or is he soft? I think he's a hell of a goaltender, and at times I thought the defense played better when it was Khudobin and net. The team just played better. Oh, yeah. When it's all said and done this year, the Nash move, whether Krejci plays better or Bergeron's healthy or whatever, it will come down to Tuukka Rask in the end. Highest paid player, he's played well all year, but if they lose, we're not going to blame Cassidy. Claude's gone. Right? Isn't that the easiest thing to do? Is just blame the coach?
Yep.
No. Now it's you blame the goaltender if that team fails.
Yep. All right. Last question, and then we'll let you go. And once again, Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Simple question. Who win? And I feel like this has kind of turned over the past year for a lot of fans in Boston. Who wins their championship next? Celtics or the Bruins?
Oof.
Yeah, that's it.
It's close now. It's a lot closer than it was at the beginning of this year, even.
I want to say it's the Celtics. I want to. I just think Golden State's too hard to beat. And Houston's even better. And it's funny, I was talking to Adam Jones the other night on the Sports Hub, who the sports buzzard, never happy, always finds a way to get upset with something. And somebody called in about who the dark horses are in the NBA. Well, the dark horse is the Celtics. That's who the dark horse is. It's the Houston Rockets. It's a great question because down the line, it might be easier for the Bruins to get there, right? I mean, let's say Tampa Bay fails in the first round this year. It might be easier for the Bruins to get there. I mean, who's the dominant team really in the Western Conference? There's no true dominant team in the NHL. There really isn't. So the answer is, and if I was going to put money on it, and I'm a guy who likes to dabble at that kind of stuff.
Oh, me too.
I'd probably bet the Bruins on that one. I just think the Celtics are the more superior team.
Yeah, I'm totally with you too. I think the Bruins just have a better, and plus the sport itself.
It's hockey. The playoffs
it's hockey.
are easy. Yeah.
Last year the last seed Nashville Predators slid into the championship. So you just never know what's going to happen.
Yep. Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens in the NBA this year because, we could sleep through the whole season and it's probably going to be Golden State and Cleveland. Cleveland barely snuck out a win last night against the Brooklyn Nets. And, I'm just not sold on a secondary scorer for the Celtics at this point. But I think they should be the favorites to go to the finals in the East this year. But LeBron's on Cleveland, and in that league, it's all about the best players. It really is.
Yep. All right. Hey, Joe, once again, this is Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Joe, thank you so much for coming on tonight. You can follow him on Twitter at Joey Murr. Once again, 98.5 The Sports Hub in Boston. Joe, thank you so much for coming on tonight, man. It was a great conversation, and I hope that we can get you back again soon.
You got it, guys. Thanks a lot, and anytime, man. Take it easy.
Absolutely. Have a good night.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye.
Love it.
All right, he hung up. So again,
Great.
Skype to me is the
new Skype is the devil.
The new Skype is horrible.
It's terrible.
I can't do anything.
I feel out of control. Like you're always like, hang up, and I'm like, I don't know how to do it. I'm just gonna let them hang up. Like I don't know.
You have to. I forget who it was. It might have been Evan Drellick, but it was that night where
it was that week I wasn't on. So.
Yeah, it was the week you weren't on.
Yeah.
And so we had no source of teamwork. I got Evan Drellick coming on. I'm trying to call him. This is right when the new update happened. I have no idea how to call people now. I'm trying to hang up at the end. I'm waiting for him to hang up because I was like, there's no way to hang up on this new Skype. I think Skype makes you talk to people unless you have to power off your laptop. And then I don't think he's hanging up the phone. So I'm just me and Evan and Lauren are just sitting there in silence waiting for somebody to hang up the phone. It was a damn mess. It was a mess.
Awkward.
Yeah. But you know what though? Now, great interview from Joe. Also, a great interview from Evan Drellick. Evan Drellick.
Go back and listen to that if you haven't to. He was fantastic.
It was a great interview too, straight out of Fort Myers. Oh, that was winter meetings. But once again, Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Love Joe. Love his opinions. And once again, I was just happy that we can get him on because he can talk about everything. Literally WWE, NBA, Patriots, Red Sox, literally anything.
Oh, he's an avid gambler. He loves it.
Oh, yeah, dude. By the way, let me tell you. remember that hot streak I was on?
Yeah.
It came crashing down.
You came crashing down harder than Tuukka Rask, my friend.
Oh, no, like it was painful, and it came to a close last night. I'll just say that. Once again, Joe Murray, follow him at Joey Murr, JoeyMurr on Twitter, 95 The Sports Hub. So let's get into it with us, the weekly dump. Let's go. Not too many hot topic headlines, but I kind of wanted to shorten it anyway. Steelers general manager today announced that Ryan Shazier will not be playing in 2018 as he's still recovering from his spinal injury suffered when playing the Bengals. This is my favorite story of the week right here. Justin Thomas got a guy thrown out of the Honda Classic this weekend for yelling, "Get in the bunker," after the ball was in the air. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about this for a second.
Can I tell you?
What a douche. What an A-class douche. The ball was already in the air, you ass clown.
I'm a big golf guy. Like, I think you guys know that about me. I golf. I watch a lot of the PGA Tour, and I'm a big Justin Thomas fan. What a puss. Like the ball was halfway to where it was supposed to be. The dude said, instead of screaming mashed potatoes like everybody else does, he decides to scream, "Get in the bunker." Who cares? And he gets the guy kicked out of the tournament for it. Like, guarantee you, those guys would never even said anything to him if Justin Thomas didn't make a big deal out of it. But instead, he turns and goes, "Get him out."
He pointed. I was watching the video right before we got on the show. He literally found the guy. He hits the ball. The guy yells, "Get in the bunker." And I guess too beforehand, he was something along the lines of, "Get in the water. You're gonna get in the water."
It was like the Happy Gilmore heckler.
Yeah. And did you see Happy Gilmore get him kicked out?
No, he
Absolutely not.
just got in a fight with Bob Barker. Whatever.
Yeah, based on a true story. It was ridiculous to see Justin Thomas do that. It infuriated me. Imagine, we know this guy could not play in any other sport. Do you think we got these people at Fenway Park screaming at players on the field? Screaming at players on the
David field. Price is what he is. He just is a softie. And look, he's a good golfer, but he just can't handle it. And that's why golf will never change. Golf is too old of a sport to change anything. And he's just he's like his dad, he's all these old players. He just is an old timer golf guy.
All right, I'm going to roll through the rest of these. Matt Forte announced his retirement from the NFL today. He had a 10-year career, and he was 32 years old. Matt Forte almost joined the Patriots when he was a free agent before joining the Jets and used the Patriots as leverage. It turned out, in the end,
to become a Jet.
Jets pay him more. John Gruden today, another one of my favorite stories. John Gruden said today that he's not an analytics guy to the media, and he prefers the old-fashioned way. That, my friend, is a football guy. It doesn't matter if the analytics are on your desk, you actually have to understand them. So he was basically just saying, shut up, nerds, this is football. I think this guy didn't realize that it's 2018.
I'm so excited. No, I'm so excited for him to be back in charge of a football team. I'm so excited for him to be in charge of a football team. It's not even funny.
He said today, Amari, no hands Cooper, is going to be the focal point of their offense. I don't think he's ever watched the Raiders play before, quite frankly.
No.
Probably not.
And then Alex Cora this week talked in an interview with Lou Merloni of WEEI. And he sourced one thing, and this isn't scripted. This is just off the top of my head because I thought this was a great thing for the Red Sox. And it gave me a vote of confidence for Alex Cora. He brought up the fact that the Red Sox do this thing that drives me up a wall and lets a first pitch fastball. They continued to let first pitch fastballs down the pipe consistently last year. Dustin Pedroia is the worst at it. Dustin Pedroia loves to start 0-1 and just let a 94-mile-an-hour fastball groove right down the middle of the plate. And Alex Cora said that he wants the Red Sox to be more aggressive on that first pitch, which is great. And I think we're going to see the Red Sox offense transform this year. I think they're going to get more aggressive at the plate, which is great because Xander Bogaerts, great two-strike hitter. He should not be in two-strike situations, 0-2 situations as much as he is because he gets a little absurd with that.
Well, that's because you don't have a puss as a manager anymore.
Well, I mean, hopefully we don't. We don't know.
You don't because you can't go. You can only go up from John Farrell.
Yeah, that's true. But who knows if Cora's a puss?
He's not a puss.
Let's roll, baby. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. He did get drunk last year and yell at the Astros manager.
That means he's not a puss.
Yeah, I mean, anybody can get drunk and yell, though. You feel?
Sure. You do it, so.
Yeah, but I don't get angry. I loudly talk. I talk louder than I'm talking right now. All right, let's roll, baby. So let's talk about JD Martinez quick. JD Martinez was introduced on Monday. It took days for the Red Sox to officially introduce him and therefore making the signing official, which was scaring Red Sox fans all over the place. It was scaring me personally. Everybody was speculating whether or not this guy was broken because I know Joe didn't really agree, and he did bring up some good points, but Dave Dombrowski has brought into the Red Sox organization broken players, Carson Smith, Tyler Thornburg, David Price, and it just took days, and it was starting to freak people out. People were like, okay, is this guy hurt? Is he going to be able to play for the Red Sox? Is this contract going to even go through? What's going on? 5-year, $110 million deal was the original one. Second and third year option was on the first contract, and then it was reworked, introduced on Monday. Contract was reworked. Now, Martinez has a fourth year option too, so he can opt out after the second, third, and fourth year. Kind of like, sounds like freaking LeBron James, to be honest with you. Could opt out after every year if he wants to. And that's my problem. So it was a Liz Frank injury. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's a foot injury that the medical staff for the Red Sox ended up finding, which caused all this commotion in the contract. But now in the third and fourth year on the Red Sox side of things, third and fourth year, depending on the amount of days spent on the disabled list for JD Martinez, the Red Sox can then have a mutual opt-out for the third and fourth year. So they can decide if they want to opt out in the third and fourth year too of this deal, which is good for the Red Sox. Here's my problem with this, though. I'm happy JD Martinez is on the team. I do not think that just north of $20 million is too much for JD Martinez. I think that's a fine number for a guy, especially in this climate of a market right now. That's about what you're going to pay anyway. I don't know why he got another opt-out year, though. Maybe just to comply with the contract, but why? Why? There's a problem with you. There's a problem with JD Martinez, not a problem with the Red Sox. I don't know why he got an extra opt-out year put onto his deal.
Well, because they probably know he's leaving anyway. So if they want to make the language feel better for him to be confident coming in here, look, guys, he's out of here after 2 years. It's just what it is. Because if he plays well,
if he plays well, though, and we'll see. I'm not 100% in that he'll play well.
He's not going to suck. He's not going to suck enough that you're going to be stuck with a dude who was supposed to be this big time hitter and just all of a sudden can't play after he gets paid. I don't think he's like that. So
even if he hits 280 and 25 home runs,
when was the last time he hit under 300?
That's not going to get him. Yeah, because he only bats in 125 games a year for the most part.
Okay, but if he bats in 130, 135 games and hits over 300 and only DHs, aren't you happy?
Even if he hits 280 and 25 home runs, I don't think he's going to get more money than what he has right now.
No, but he's not going to hit 280. He's a 300 hitter. It's just what he's been. And if you're only going to have him DH most of the time, that means he doesn't have to worry about being hurt because half the time it's because he's running around in the outfield.
And he got that extra opt-out because Scott Boras is the devil.
Well, that's true. That's the t-shirt. Just Scott Boras is the devil because at that point, that's really all it is.
Yeah, but isn't that something though that we should worry about? Like the fact that they found an injury that's even, and I know they're saying it's not going to affect him for years down the line, but just the fact that we now have to rework a deal because of this injury, isn't that something that we have to be concerned with?
I don't think so. It wasn't reworked like a crazy amount. It wasn't like
there were opt-outs added. Opt-outs scare me.
But
I don't think that.
That doesn't bother me. If it was reworked to a point where it's like,
you want to be, Lauren, let me ask you something. Do you want to be in a non-committal relationship?
No.
Do you want somebody to just be able to, do you want to get married, right? Do you want to get married, have a 5-year max deal on that marriage, and then also your husband's going to be like at the last second, you know what? I found some things wrong with you. After the second and third year, if I decide to, can I just leave?
They should start putting that in like wedding vows and stuff.
They should put that in every wedding done in Vegas should have an opt-out clause.
Hey, Jared, can I write your vows?
No.
It's every wedding in Vegas should give you prenups at the stand, at the chapel.
Prenups and the contract. After year 1, I can opt out if I feel like I'm not being loving enough or if it was a drunken accident.
Exactly.
Dude, I hope Laura doesn't listen to this because you're getting married in freaking July.
August.
Sitting in the other room, so like.
Hey, 2015, 282. That's when JD Martinez hit under 300. 282, 2015. How many home runs? Okay, he hit 38 home runs.
Wouldn't you take that, and wouldn't he get paid for that?
Yeah. I don't know. Over $22 million for a lot of teams. Only other teams that I think would pay that would be. It wouldn't be Cleveland because Cleveland already has a load of a contract, unless I don't know Encarnacion's deal. I don't think they would be able to pay that, though. If Encarnacion's still on that team, they wouldn't be able to pay. The Astros sure as hell can't afford that. The Yankees, it would either be the Yankees, which that would be a classic Yankees move to pick up a Red Sox free agent, or the Red Sox or the Cubs, who are probably going to have $1 billion contract on Bryce Harper anyway.
Oh yeah.
I just don't think I don't see him. I don't see David Price opting out because I don't think they're going to get more money than what they were given here in Boston.
No.
And that's scary.
The Boston is these Boston contracts are the ones that are going to make them the most money. It's just how it is because they wanted to pay him to get him here.
All right, let's roll over here. Rob Gronkowski retiring. And by the way, one more shout out to Joe Murray. Joe, thank you so much for coming on tonight. We had a great time, and we cannot wait.
Jack of all trades, baby.
Jack of all trades. That was glorious. That was Swiss Army knife of guests. Gronk retiring. So that's just the headline. So literally minutes after the Super Bowl ends, Gronk's on an interview, right? Gronk's at the stand talking to all the reporters, and next thing you know, he's being asked, "Are you going to retire next year?" He kind of pauses. How did you hear that? I don't know how you heard that. And now it's been speculation ever since then. Is he going to leave for the WWE? Are there actors, a.k.a. The Rock, telling him that you can make millions of dollars in Hollywood? Listen, I didn't think there was a chance Gronk retired. I didn't believe the rumors. I thought they were just rumors. Up until Tommy Curran earlier this week. What was it, Monday night? Tommy Curran comes out with just some bombs that he's dropping. Woj bombs of Boston Sports Tonight, essentially, saying that Gronk wasn't happy. He knows Gronk wasn't happy in 2017. And this is the kicker for me. He almost retired at the beginning of training camp.
Yeah, they said he wasn't having fun. And when Gronk doesn't have fun, that makes me sad because he's always having fun.
Yeah, but something that kind of contradicted him, though, Tommy Curran contradicted himself. He said that he talked to Gronk in December, too. Gronk said that he was having the most time that he's ever had on the field. So it's not a field problem. He loves playing. This is what I gathered from that. He loves playing, but it's the atmosphere. And Tommy Curran also cited this. It's the atmosphere of the Patriots locker room. It's the atmosphere of Gillette Stadium. It's the atmosphere of the king, Bill Belichick, the top of the food chain. This makes you think, though, too. Is Gronk just going to be done? Does Gronk want to come back next year?
But the question is, why is this all happening? Like, it's all about the culture, right? It sounds like Gronk's not happy with the way it's been. He's been here for, 8 years now?
Sounds like everybody's sick of Bill.
It sounds like everyone is just toning out Belichick. And is this a bigger picture of maybe McDaniels stayed for a reason? Like Joe Murray mentioned it just 10 minutes ago. Maybe they know what we don't, obviously, because they're in the organization. They all know Bill's being toned out. There's a reason why. There's Butler not playing, Gronk now not happy when he's been happy for the last 8 years. And Belichick, there's no question in my mind, Belichick is the greatest coach to ever coach this game. But maybe
everybody overstays their welcome, though.
But maybe it's his time, and maybe that means Brady plays here and McDaniels coaches him, which is I think what McDaniels wants, and maybe that's what Brady wants. Because if that's the case, then his guy Guerrero gets back in the building, and a lot of this too with Gronk. Gronk had one of the best years of his career training full time with Guerrero, and then he comes into training camp and Bill says no, go screw, like you need to do what we say. Why? You have a guy who's been injury prone his entire career, go through a whole season, one of the best of his career. Not have to worry about injuries. Bite the bullet, Bill, and let him train with Guerrero. Who cares?
Bill doesn't bite bullets. Bill is petty. He's egotistical, and it's always going to get in the way. And it clearly showed a lot this season, just from the Garoppolo trade to the Alex Guerrero, not firing, but essentially firing, and the whole Malcolm Butler thing. Like, his ego just constantly gets in the way. And yes, he's the greatest coach of all time, but it's his ego. It's all ego.
And you mentioned it too, Lauren, like the Jimmy Garoppolo trade. One, obviously, that pissed Bill off.
A shoulder over here.
You are showing a little shoulder.
Getting a little sexual on the live stream. Let's go.
It's probably for me. It's because it's my birthday. You just want to show me a little skin.
Oh yeah.
But look, here's the deal. If with the ownership, if Gronk leaves, if Gronk does retire and doesn't come back next year, doesn't that Garoppolo trade look even worse?
Oh yeah.
Because now you have
you have
no Rob Gronkowski. Julian Edelman, yeah, he's back. He looks great. These Instagram videos are getting me all jacked up for Patriots season. But who knows what he's going to be right away? Amendola is the one who wants to come back, and he's made out of glass, so who knows? And it's just, if you don't have Gronk, then really what do you have? So
you have Tom Brady.
And you don't have Dion Lewis either at that point, because he's probably gone too. So, look,
which is so sad.
And maybe if Gronk's not back, you can probably afford to keep Dion Lewis. That could be an argument. But at the same time, if you don't have Gronk, not having Jimmy Garoppolo now just looks horrible. Because at that point, if you don't have Gronk, you're looking forward to the future. And now you don't have the guy who's going to be good for the next 15 years.
You don't even have a reliable backup. I don't want to go into a game and think, watching Brady get hurt, God forbid. And be like, oh yeah, Brian Hoyer. I feel real good about him.
Here comes Brian Hoyer, the guy who played for Cleveland. Yay!
Most teams don't, and you're probably going to lose Garoppolo though anyway. So the backup quarterback's not really a question. What the Eagles did, that's unprecedented. I mean, it's the Eagles and then it's the 2001 Patriots. It's the Eagles and the 2001 Patriots, and yeah, the Vikings too. But I mean, doesn't that just say how crappy the league was as a whole? And you know what Bill's doing metaphorically? You know what Bill's doing metaphorically, or what it seems like to a lot of people who are speculating what's happening? Bill planted, allegedly, Don't just tune in here because this is gonna sound rough. Bill allegedly took a little package, a little bomb, put it in the middle of Gillette Stadium. He's walking away. He holds up. It's like an action movie. He holds up the remote. Click, click, boom. Gillette Stadium goes up in flames, baby. And it would just be Bill ruining the organization on the way out, trading away Jimmy Garoppolo, not having Rob Gronkowski come back the year after, losing your top running back. Julian Edelman's coming back for his age 32 season with a torn ACL. Who knows? Like you said, Jared, who knows what he's going to look like? You might not even have Danny Amendola next year. You're literally going to have Tom Brady, Brandon Cooks, and a crap defense. That's what you would have left if the perfect storm happened and Bill left with all of that stuff melting right in front of him. Mm-hmm. But I don't think any of that's going to happen. It's just speculation. But just the fact that things are happening like this, and Gronk's dropping a bunch of clues too. And let's talk about that real quick. Gronk has just been going bananas on Twitter. And I'm glad Joe said this too. Joe said that he thinks that Gronk is just, oh, come on, Twitter. Oh, come on, my Mac's not loading. There we go. He said that he thinks this is just Gronk trolling everybody because he knows he's the topic of conversation. But it kicked off 4 days ago. Gronk tweets out, "4C" with 3 E's. Last time I checked, 4C doesn't have 3 E's. Also, don't know if I'm just spelling that incorrectly. "Foresee your own future, control your own temptations, and your destiny will be not just. This is why everybody on the radio had trouble reading this. This is incredible. And your destiny will be not just be reached. It will just be starting." Said that, and then he tweets out 2 days later, "There are no limits." This is like me reading Lauren's DMs. 2 days later, tweets out, "There are no limits." Capitalizes no. And then people start putting the puzzle together, and everybody's like, okay, the next WWE pay-per-view, I forget what the actual slogan is, and I can't check it because my Mac is crapping the bed on me right now. But it's something about there are no limits. Something along those lines. So he matches that with the WWE.
There's a pay-per-view called
No Limit?
No, yeah.
Yep.
Is that what the next one is? Because it's the next one. That's what the correlation is. Okay. Well, either that or the slogan's the same, regardless. So he tweets that out, and that goes with the speculation that he's leaving for the WWE. And then he tweets out today, and this is after the Ian Rappaport report saying that Gronk is expected to be back next season. He tweets out #clueless with the shrugging shoulders. And people watching this on YouTube right now, it's the shrugging shoulders emoji. It's a little pop in the shoulders. It's my favorite emoji. It might be my top emoji. I use it on everything, even when it doesn't make sense. That one and the fire emoji. I'll just be like, "Hey, you want to go get dinner?" "Yeah." Fire emoji. "Yeah." Shrug emoji.
You do love the fire emoji, now that I think about it. You use it a lot.
I literally use it for everything.
Like, Pat will text us after. Podcast is up. Just all flames. Just fire.
Well, that's supposed to mean like fire. Hell yeah. Podcast is up, baby. Let's go. But yeah, I mean, Gronk's just dropping all these clues, all these hints, scaring the hell out of me. But in the end, I think he's going to come back. I don't think there's a chance that he's going to miss next season. Wouldn't be surprised if he did retire after the season, though. Yeah, if he rides out on the sunset when the Patriots win Super Bowl 53.
They're definitely going to win next year. There's no question in my mind about that. But look, I really think that he's done after this year. I think he's coming back. I agree with you. But in the sense of, I think he's just doing this now to toilet people. I think Rappaport's report came right from the Patriots because, the way the wording is, it's expectations. It's things that
it came from friends.
No, it came from the Patriots because he got the scoop. Remember when, now I don't remember what I was going to say about that, but he got that scoop that was kind of wrong about him, like, not playing in the Super Bowl or whatever it may be.
Oh, so I trust him.
Yeah, so you shouldn't trust him.
What are we talking about here? I thought you were giving me a reason to trust him.
But we know we got the report from the Patriots. So, like, he always gets his stuff from the Pats. That's kind of the way he's been. He's always been pro-Patriots for the most part in his reports. Expectations, that word says to me that it's coming from Bill. It's coming from the Patriots.
What word?
Expectations in his report. He said,
sorry, use the quote.
Expectations.
No, like the quote. Like
I don't have it in front of me.
So I just can't think about it. Sorry, spell it for me.
Let me go pull his tweet. You can go screw.
Damn it, I wanted to move on. The concussion, though, that he got in the AFC Championship that Joe and I were talking about, I think that rattled him. I think that really rattled him. I think that over the days of him recovering, and your brain's... I've had a couple of concussions in my life, but I've never had a massive one. And I feel like that one was a massive one for him. And I hear that when you have a severe concussion, you kind of fall into a little depression, and then you think, and you just have plenty of time to think. And I bet you during those 2 weeks when he was trying to recover from that concussion and get ready for the Super Bowl, it just started coming to him. Maybe I should retire. I've seen the stories. I've seen the horror stories. I've seen Junior Seau killed himself. We've had all these CTE discoveries. Maybe I should hang up the cleats. Maybe I should hang up the cleats because I don't want to be I want to be able to walk when I'm 50 years old. I think that if there are any considerations from him, which I think there are, for him to retire, it stems from that concussion.
The concussion and just his...
All right, let's roll.
You said you wanted to fall... No. Hold on. You said you wanted to move on, so I was letting you move on. Go through, Wags.
God, I love myself.
There lays the problem.
Let's finish this off, baby, with some Rick Nash talk. I wrote a blog today just saying how much I love this man, and I have never loved this man. I've liked him before on the Rangers, but he was a New Yorker. I was like, F this guy. This guy can go screw. The Bruins are life. Bruins are better. Look at this. Dirty Boston hat, F New York, F the Rangers. Now Rick Nash is on the Bruins, and I love this guy, and I'll never stop loving him, and I will thank him. I will thank him for the rest of my life just for that save that he made last night. He was playing goalie for Tuukka Rask, who sometimes forgets how to play goalie.
Oh, that was phenomenal. There was nobody in net. Like, Tuukka fell on his face, being Tuukka, and then out of nowhere, just Rick Nash comes like, yeah, I'll get that. No worries. He just comes in and swipes it up under Tuukka's rear end there. Look. This guy's an all-star. They got him for a reason. They're making a push. Six-time all-star. I don't know if his talent his talent's not where it obviously was, and his name is part of the hype. But if he plays consistently the way he played in his home opener against at the Garden, then there's no reason to not be happy about it.
Lauren, you were there last night, right? Oh God, Lauren.
No.
Oh,
no.
Looks like we're rolling off the show with me and Jared.
Let's just talk about the Bruins. I don't even know hockey that well. Let's talk about the Bruins.
All right, let's talk about the Bees. I feel so bad for Lauren right now because this is like her topic.
This is her thing.
She's been waiting for us to have an actual Bruins discussion.
And she's dying laughing. I love this. If you're watching the YouTube video before this is on the SoundCloud, you're getting the raw emotion of Lauren just not knowing what's going on.
Oh, can you see it?
Oh, there it is!
I'm so confused.
Back! Pat, put in the Bruins goal sound. But mute me out or play it now. Okay, no.
Lauren, talk your Bruins. Talk them. This is for you.
This is for me. I love you guys for it. No, I'm Rick Nash, man. Yeah.
You appreciate us.
I appreciate you guys. I love Rick Nash. There we go. I love Rick Nash is what I really meant to say. I love the signing. I think. What?
Jared, you hear that?
Oh no! Here we go.
That's all of us.
Yeah, it's okay. I know. It's whatever.
It's your birthday, and she just threw you under the bus.
It's okay. My fiance's in the other room. It's okay.
Yeah, Lauren, keep going.
So, the whole trade itself, I'm totally cool with. I don't like Bolesky. We don't need draft picks. We're stacked. And I didn't realize everyone was a fan of Ryan Spooner until...
Yeah, me neither.
Everyone's like, no, Ryan Spooner. I'm like... Didn't even like the guy 2 minutes ago.
It was dumb. It's like every other tweet I ever read about Ryan Spooner was, fuck that guy. Get him out of Boston. He sucks.
That was the thing where I'm like, you guys shit on Ryan Spooner all season. All of a sudden he's gone. Like, no, they traded away my favorite player. Screw you. Like, no, you didn't even like the guy. You don't like the idea of giving up somebody who's young and who has a lot of potential for somebody who's established, who's older. Yes. That's what you don't like. You don't like the fact that they gave away Ryan Spooner. You don't like the fact that they gave away a young guy for an old guy. All right, that's fine. But I love it. I think Rick Nash is going to help this team. He gives Krejci a good winger on either side because he can play both sides, which is great. And obviously, we saw last night. He can score, which is fantastic. He makes saves because Tuukka likes to wander sometimes, and sometimes he falls down. it's a win. It's a win for the Bruins, and it's a win for the Rangers too, because they're trying to rebuild that shit show going down in New York. It's oh my god, this team is so good. This team is so exciting.
Lauren, I'm going to pull my inner podcast interview. I do this every time we talk Bruins because you're the one I want to ask. McDonough, like he goes to the Lightning. Everyone's kind of deeming them the Cup champs, including myself. I think they're going to win the whole thing. Do you?
Win the whole.
Win the Stanley Cup.
The whole kit and caboodle. Lord Stanley's Cup itself.
The championship.
The
last one standing, some say.
The chalice of alcohol.
You win 4 games out of 7 in the final round of the Cup.
Is that
That's a hockey thing.
And then you can pour alcohol in the cup and drink.
I just started reading up on this today.
Hockey for dummies?
She just called. So she tells me that she doesn't love me, and now she's calling me a dummy.
No, I'm not a dummy. At least I'll take the step up.
But you're my dummy, you guys.
All right, listen. Just let me get my 2 cents on Rick Nash real quick. The trade overall, I want everybody on Twitter to shut up who's complaining about this deal. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Lauren, your mic's going banana land right now. Are you kidding me? You were going to be mad. You're going to be angry about the Bruins trading away Ryan Spooner, who 83% of you on Twitter who were complaining that the Bruins gave up Ryan Spooner for Rick Nash. 83% of you clowns.
It's a scientific poll right there.
Couldn't even tell me what Ryan Spooner's number was. You couldn't even tell me what Ryan Spooner's number was. The first round draft pick, it's hockey. This isn't football. This isn't football. Your first round draft pick's going to be in college next year anyway. It doesn't even matter. We in Boston, and this is my problem with Jared's Celtics take too. We in Boston want immediate gratification. We want winners now. Waiting, we are the most impatient fans. We do not want to see rebuilds. And Jared, I'm saying that because you wouldn't trade Jason Tatum for Anthony Davis when the
Why would you do that? No.
Still don't do that.
Why would you do that? You can trade Jaylen Brown. I'm fine with that. Just do not touch
because they want Jason Tatum.
Then don't do it.
Anthony Davis scored 53 points the other night.
Don't care. He's on a bad team. Of course he's going to score a lot of points.
Okay, on a good team, he scores 30 with Kyrie Irving. Listen, immediate gratification, championship team, Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, if you can make the cap work, Al Horford, Gordon Hayward.
Just make your Bruins take. No, just make your Bruins take and get this show over because we can talk about this for 2 hours.
And we will again.
I want to see that.
Anthony Davis becomes a member of the Boston Celtics and Jason Tatum's gone. But we want immediate gratification, and Rick Nash has the potential to give you that immediate gratification. Okay? Ryan Spooner doesn't. You swapped out on the ice Ryan Spooner for Rick Nash. And we've heard it talked about all week. David Krejci has been a focal point of the championship teams, or at least the teams who have gone to the championship for the Bruins.
He was a stud the cup year.
He was. And that's when he has big forwards next to him who can help him out. Also forwards who can score. That is Rick Nash. That is Rick Nash. Rick Nash is an offensive force. He has slowed down this year. He's taken a step back, but who knows? He might get a new life here in Boston, and it seems like he already has. I don't think the Bruins are going to win the Cup. I think there's a chance they go to the Cup, though.
They go further than the Celtics do in their respective playoffs.
Yeah. And I think that going back to the question I asked Joe Murray earlier, 98.5 The Sports Hub, I think Bruins win the Cup first. I think Bruins win the Cup before the Celtics win the championship because it's hockey. Like I kept saying before, it's hockey. The Bruins win the Cup this year because
I agree. I see. Yeah, see, that's why. Because, and I think it's more because they don't have a Golden State Warriors in their sport. Like,
and basketball is different. It's the best team wins for the most part.
Yeah, and it's really what it is. And we've seen it the last how many years now? The last 3 finals has been the same 2 teams. Like, this just doesn't happen in any other sport. So I agree with the fact that the Bruins will win first, but I also didn't think that at the beginning of the season. Like, they've done a lot this year to make
nobody thought they would be where they are.
Exactly. Like, I would have maybe thought they might have made the playoffs this year with the young team, which is good for a couple years. They rebuild, and then in 5 years, they might be contenders. They sped up the process by 5 years. Like, they are ready to go, and I think this team's going to be good for a long time.
Hey, Lauren, let me ask you a question before we end this show. Let me ask you a question.
Her mic's not working again.
Lauren, okay. Damn it. Damn it! Oh, I wanted to ask her a question.
We'll just end the show. It's okay.
All right. Guess we'll end the show. Couch Guy Sports Loose Change Podcast, episode number 49. Those of you watching the YouTube live stream of this, thank you for watching it. Make sure you share it. Make sure you post it on Twitter. Make sure you get the word out about the Loose Change Podcast, because we all want to be in Boston sports media, baby, and we need more exposure. Loose Change Podcast, episode 49. Thank you, Joe Murray of 98.5 The Sports Hub, for coming on the show tonight. Follow him on Twitter at Joey Murr. Follow us on Twitter at Couch Guy Sports, Instagram at Couch Guy Sports, SoundCloud. Say it with
Couch
me.
Guy Sports. Look at that.
Couch Guy Sports. Like us on Facebook, Couch Guy Sports, and rate and subscribe on iTunes. Be a big help if you did. Couch Guy Sports Loose Change Podcast, episode number 49 in the books. Close the book. Thank you for listening. Have a great night, everybody.